Welcome. Is this my reality? Is this your reality?
Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.
Here's something from our old reality. The untold story of Memorial Day. How former slaves honored the Civil War dead. The African American history of the federal holiday that has nearly been wiped from public memory. In 1971, Congress established Memorial Day as an official federal holiday to honor all Americans who have fallen in U.S. wars. Today, cities across the North and South claim credit for establishing the first Decoration Day, from Macon, Georgia, to Richmond, Virginia, to Carbondale, Illinois. Yet, a key story of the holiday has been nearly erased from the public memory in most official accounts, including that offered by the Department of Veteran Affairs. If you like uncensored content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell. Do it for America. During the spring of 1865, African Americans in Charleston, South Carolina, most of them former slaves, held a series of memorials and rituals to honor unnamed fallen Union soldiers and boldly celebrate the struggle against slavery. One of the largest such events took place on May 1st of that year, but it's largely been forgotten until David Blight, a history professor at Yale University, found records at a Harvard archive. In a New York Times article published in 2011, Blight described the scene. While it is difficult to pinpoint the precise birthday of this holiday, it is fair to say that ceremonies like the following are largely erased from the American narrative of Memorial Day. During the final year of the war, the Confederates had converted the city's Washington Racecourse and Jockey Club into an outdoor prison. Union captives were kept in horrible conditions in the interior of the track. At least 257 died of disease and were hastily buried in a mass grave behind the grandstand. After the Confederate evacuation of Charleston, black workmen went to the site. They reburied the dead properly. They built a high fence around the cemetery. They whitewashed the fence and they built an archway over the entrance on which they inscribed the words, "Martyrs of the Racecourse." The symbolic power of this was not lost on the free people, who then, in cooperation with white missionaries and teachers, staged a parade of 10,000 on the track. A New York Tribune correspondent witnessed the event, describing it as a procession of friends and mourners as South Carolina and the United States never saw before. The procession was led by 3,000 black school children carrying armloads of roses and singing the Union marching song, John Brown's Body. Several hundred black women followed with baskets of flowers, wreaths, and crosses. Then came black men marching in cadence, followed by contingents of Union infantrymen. Within the cemetery enclosure, a black children's choir sang, "We'll rally around the flag," the Star-Spangled Banner, and other spirituals before a series of black ministers read from the Bible. Wow. I just want to say wow. So after the dedication, the crowd dispersed into the infield and did what many of us do on Memorial Day. They enjoyed picnics, they listened to speeches, they watched the soldiers drill. And among the full brigade, of Union infantrymen participating were the famous 54th Massachusetts, the 34th, and 100 United States colored troops who performed a special double-column march around the gravesite. This story of Memorial Day is not merely excluded from the history books, but this appears to have been actively suppressed. The park where the racecourse prison camp once stood was eventually named Hampton Park. Get this, after the Confederate General Wade Hampton, who became South Carolina's governor following the Civil War. Of course he did. Many of the issues we have around race, and you can't even talk about it anymore, or you're a racist. These are based on the fact that these truths, that these stories have been buried and they just haven't been told. History is not what they're telling you. They want everyone divided, so we don't pay attention to what they're doing. Just think about that as you celebrate Memorial Day this year. Think about how in the darkest times we can all come together as people. Just saying. Happy Memorial Day. Now get the fuck out of here.